But we are going to get right into things immediately. We have the big audio drop today that we've been waiting for. And, Brandon had made his initial challenge. And part of it was WWE did not want... We had known about these voicemails involving Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel. The content of these voicemails was known. But the argument that Brandon requested that the audio files be shared publicly. And I thought it was noteworthy because I don't care what you read, I think it has so much more impact to actually hear these things. And just seeing the response since we dropped this story at 4:00, I think we stand completely accurate on that front. It just hits people more when they actually hear this, and just seeing the responses of people who had no idea about any of this. It tells you just how these audio clips will circulate a whole lot more than text within hours of depositions and in text form.
Absolutely. I mean, I think now more than ever, it's really the medium that really kind of dictates how many people will see or hear the thing that you're talking about, right? Like Langus is something that you guys have been talking about for, I feel almost what's this, November, something like that. And it's only just really, been picked up by, I would say, a larger wrestling audience because of, I guess, maybe more of maybe a more interesting story that it's attached to. But this is stuff that's out there. It's just not being talked about as much because people aren't hearing it. They're not sharing it. It's not as shareable,
Yeah, it's a huge disconnect, I think, because it's not like listening to this. If you have read the deposition, that it's not new information, but I think it is a valuable. It's just something different when you are seeing or hearing something, and we always get that comparison versus just the text. And that's why I encourage Brandon to push for this audio to be released. And let me just say, we'll save a lot of this for tomorrow night because Brandon and I will be going through this whole story pretty in depth tomorrow night. And maybe Brandon will get into some of the hurdles he had to go through to finally get this audio, because he was great. The judge, Travis Laster, had ruled weeks ago for this audio to be released. And I know that you are not really familiar with media and transferring of audio files, but boy, it's quite the task.
I'll bet.
It's pretty hard. I wish we could just email. We are talking 30-second voicemails here. You can't just attach that right to an email.
Yeah.
Can't just post that instantly. This is something. Yes.
Maybe
someone
the judge
had to go to the courthouse to get this. Okay.
Maybe the judge had to do it himself. He had to download an app to get this text message, a voice message to MP3. Maybe he had to transcode it from Wave, to the right bit rate of MP3. Who knows?
So again, we're going to go through a lot more of this on Thursday night, but we do have the audio, the elusive audio that Way is going to play for us. We're just going to hear, it was 3 separate messages, 2 from Ari Emanuel and 1 from Vince McMahon that we got and released today. And we are going back to the summer of 2022, just for the quick timeline. It's July 22nd when Vince McMahon announces his quote-unquote retirement, and that very same day, he is on the phone with Ari Emanuel. And what we have seen coming out from, the timeline, the shareholder lawsuit, is that, Ari Emanuel, he is courting Vince McMahon and getting, things in motion. And this is Ari Emanuel. This leads us here into the first clip, and I guess just all the clips are together, but it starts with Ari contacting Vince and basically reassuring him that the lawyers involved in on the DOJ front, they're former lawyers at this firm that has, deep ties to Endeavor. So we're going to hear from that first, and then we'll come back and react.
Okay, sure. Here's the first one from Ari. Here we go.
I spoke to my lawyer from Latham, just FYI. Everybody at the DOJ is former Latham lawyers. So on that side, we'll be up. SEC, of course, it's SEC, but that's just a penalty. As it relates to everything else, yes, we can indemnify you, and we will. If it's criminal, of course, you can't stop criminal, but this is not criminal. Call me when you get a chance.
First of all, some crystal clear audio from Ari Emanuel, like a future podcast. I guess he does do a podcast now, but I mean,
Oh, does he?
he does.
He does. He has a podcast.
He does some kind of like, they take topics. It's some debate show. I've listened to like 10 minutes of it in totality as well. But anyway, So he is there, and this is important. Like, he is basically stating that we can, he's literally saying, yes, we can indemnify you, and we will. Why is that important? Because Vince is weighing like the potential of like, if I am working here with Endeavor, with Ari, would that kind of a guarantee be weighing my options when it comes to a sale transaction, that this is going to, I can personally benefit from this and put my own wants and needs ahead of my shareholders. Emanuel would deny in the deposition that they indemnified Vince, but it's I won't say completely immaterial that they did not indemnify Vince, but the promise is clear there that they are at least saying it. Like, wait, I might not give you $1 million, but if I am offering you $1 million to do something, I'm trying to steer your decision-making process under the guise that I'm going to deliver something to you. And the argument was going to be like, were they successful in guiding Vince McMahon's decision-making based off of this? So it's not as though just not the fact that they indemnified him completely disqualifies that. We should mention, it's like this shareholder lawsuit is over, so I won't say it's immaterial, but this was sort of the thinking there.
But this had to have been a big, swaying of maybe the momentum towards the shareholders, right? Like, they had evidence here.
We have this, where it's the promise of indemnification. We have that very same day, July 22nd, 2022, Vince retires. He's on the phone with Ari. And what also happens that same day, Mark Shapiro sends that email to two executives, and he is like laying out the next several months of Vince. Vince is going to come back on board, and like, he's off by a few months, but he pretty much outlines the whole play right there. So certainly, if you were one of these other bidders, one of them even said like this was like preordained. And that was the whole argument here, is that like none of us had a reasonable chance because this was wrapped up to be handed to Endeavor. And this is some of what we have heard of them, working Vince.
On top of the whole Signal thing, right? Everything, all of this was weighing against Vince's side.
So that is September 16th. 3 days later, this is the next voicemail coming from Ari. And let's just go right into clip number 2.
I'm sorry I'm a pain in the ass calling you, except for the fact that, that's just my MO as you. And I really do think that we all need to get together and talk through all the issues. Because I think whether it be the DOJ or anything, there's ways around this to figure this out. And I don't know what, you're hearing or thinking. So give me a call if you have 5 seconds.
I know I'm a pain in the ass. I don't know. Ari Emanuel has more wealth than I will ever sniff at, but I don't know who I would call and feel comfortable leaving a voicemail that includes the words, whether it be DOJ or anything, there's ways around this to figure this out. It's like, I don't know if I want my voice attached to that. That could be accessible. Regardless of what happens.
Clearly, they trusted the privacy of whatever platforms they were using, and didn't think that this stuff would be.
There's no reporter that's going to challenge any of these judges, the sealing of any of this potential evidence.
If not for Brandon, there wouldn't have been.
Brandon challenged this, and anyone could have done this. Brandon is the one person that did it, and yes, if it was not for Brandon, you're probably not listening to this, and you're probably not being able to access a ton of information that has come out in this shareholder lawsuit. So again, it is, we are still several months away from Vince McMahon formally returning to the WWE that he would in early January. And of course, it's with the provision, with the return of George Barrios and Michelle Wilson to the board, and as protective cover, we are going to be exploring a sale transaction or a merger, and therefore Wall Street does not respond negatively to Vince returning. It's actually very positive because this is, they're looking at this as a great, potential business maneuver for Vince McMahon to orchestrate. And the final one is from Vince McMahon himself. We fast forward to December the 13th. And at this time, there have been several meetings at this point involving various levels of WWE with Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon present. December 13th is also a couple of weeks before Vince makes his formal demand/request to return to the company and is shot down unanimously before he clarifies, I was not asking to return. I am telling you, I am returning to the company, or else you will not have a media deal that requires my blessing. So at least 2 weeks prior, he is contacting Jeff Sine, Jeff Sine is with the Rain Group, which is kind of a banking entity that has been a long time advisors with Endeavor and was kind of in the middle here as Vince is opting to inform Jeff Sine that he is going to be working with Ari and his company. And Jeff Sine, he's an important figure in all of this, although not as publicly known as some of the other figures we're talking about. So let's hear from Vince giving a late night call to Jeff Sine.
Hey, Jeff, Vince, it's 10:13. Very good meeting with Ari and company. And I think it probably is the best thing to do to go forward with the deal with Ari. It solves a lot of problems. Again, together, I think it's a stronger situation than either one of us on our own. But I'm pretty sure that's the way I want to go now. It's easier, faster, and all that other kind of stuff. So let's talk in the morning, and I didn't commit to Ari, but let's talk in the morning and go. Jeff, thank you so much. Sorry to call you so late. We just broke up. Well, I just broke up with Ari. Was like an hour ago we left or something, and Linda, Stephanie and I and Nick were talking, so we just broke that up. So we'll talk in the morning. Thanks.
I have to get that laugh in there. Yeah. I guess this must be like business speak, but like, we just broke up. He's just saying we just left the meeting, is that common terminology?
You and I break up every night after we wrap up the review.
Yeah.
Do
we
the
just
feedback.
broke up the show. Yeah.
We do our couple breakups a week.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, that one, not so controversial.
It's not. It just tells you of like this aligning of Endeavor with Vince McMahon. Again, this is weeks before they are formally stating their intent to engage in sale talks. And
so like other bidders weren't even made aware that WWE was for sale yet.
No, this is before Vince is back in the company. This is like 3.5 weeks before he's back in the company and before they are formally taking bids. So again, it's telling you that like a KKR,
this whole thing was a sham.
It's in not so many words. It's like if KKR had made some absolutely ridiculous bid of like overvaluing the company, would they have paused at that? Maybe not, but it was like this was Endeavor's to lose, and many would say this was a can't lose situation for Endeavor. The way it sounds here, like they have this pretty much wrapped up before Vince has ever stepped foot back into the company formally. And
so it's actually very controversial, this clip.
Everything about this is controversial, but it is one that, I mean, we will never know what would have happened if they actually got in front of Judge Travis Laster, where, remember, there were already sanctions against Vince McMahon and Nick Khan. They were already battling from a position of weakness in that case among the different defendants as well. We still don't know like the formal terms of this settlement that is going to be reached, but this does paint a picture of what the plaintiffs had to work with and the impetus for the defendants to settle this, because this was probably not going to turn out well for the WWE, for Vince McMahon, and for those as the listed defendants. So those are the three voicemails. We're going to talk about this more with Brandon on Thursday night's edition of Pollock and Thurston. But I just think this, I do feel very strongly about the fact that you can actually hear these voicemails, and it is in this media ecosystem, this is the stuff that travels a lot more than text, even if it is full of details and information.
Yeah.
There is a threshold it's not going to cross. Whereas this, it is going to be people hearing about this for the first time. Like just some of the comments I saw from people about other aspects of the case that they are clearly hearing about for the first time, that this is an on-ramp for. So I thought it was very important that Brandon challenged this aspect, because the WWE tried to stop this from being released publicly, and the judge did side and state that no, this is for public consumption. It's July on the Post Wrestling Cafe, and that means our extensive G1 coverage begins starting July 11th. We're going to have reviews of every single G1 card right up to and including the finals in the middle of August. Plus, Rewind Away takes a look at 2 episodes of Heels. We're also going to be going back to 2005 for a review of WrestleMania 21, and it is the start of our double shot episodes covering this season of Dark Side of the Ring. Plus, we are going to dive into the 3rd season of WWE Unreal. All that and so much more can be yours by signing up to the Post Wrestling Cafe. It gets you XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, Collision Course on a weekly basis, MCU later, and so much more.